Okay, so I'll be talking about dating violence. So let me start by asking you this. How many dating violence cases have you ever heard of? One, two, maybe a few, but there are actually many more, and some just choose to tell only those that they trust, which sometimes aren't exactly the people who help them get out of the current situation. Some of them are afraid of the consequences of coming out with their story, and I was one of them. But I turned that fear into something positive to encourage people to realize their self-worth, as well as know their rights to live as a human being, not under anyone else. I don't share my story for any other reason than to make this group of people realize that they're not alone in their battles. So let me move on to describing what I see as abuse and show you why people take it really lightly. When you think of abuse, you think of blood, bruises, scars. Well, dating abuse comes in many forms, mainly physical, emotional, and psychological. And violence in the physical abuse sense doesn't just occur on its own. Whatever physical abuse you see or hear about has a much bigger abuse story behind it. So, how do these people get into such relationships? Most of the time it starts with low self-esteem, having the habit of giving in and overlooking major flaws instead of rectifying the flaws. So why do they stay in these relationships, right? The same reasons, and most commonly fear. How mine started was with low self-esteem. A school jock actually asked me out on a date, and I was like, whoa, me really? You want to go out with me? Everyone knows you, everyone wants to date you, why me, right? So nobody was interested in knowing me. Not that I was really bothered by it, but it was a big thing when he asked me out. His friends didn't like it though, they didn't like me. They were like, why are you going out with this nobody? So I had to go through that as well. He used this to his advantage, constantly reminding me later into the relationship that because of him, I was brought up to a higher social status and then everyone knew me. Before he came around, I was a no one. So he reminded me of this several times, and me, I felt like I owed it to him. So it starts with these unhealthy thoughts, not respecting yourself and knowing your self-worth enough. In other words, you're not loving yourself. When you start out with these things, you tend to overlook many occasions that disrespect yourself as a human being. I received my first slap a few months into the relationship because I wanted to leave him. And apart from not being allowed to call him by name because it was disrespectful, because he was the guy and I was the girl, so I cannot call him by his name. So if I wanted to walk away from a heated argument, it was considered rude instead of mature. And not using up all my energy to apologize for something was considered little effort on my part. He would be like, hey, you're not putting in effort, are you sure you love me? You know, if I don't chase him. So slowly it turned into fights in public areas, during my A-level examination period, during work, etc. So pulling of hair, pushing, getting screamed at, getting bruises from his really strong grip became norms. I got so used to it. And I'm not saying that I'm an angel. Yes, in self-defense, I learned that being violent back was getting even. So, okay, once you hit me, I hit you back, that's fine, we're fine, you know? Whenever I cried about getting hit, he would just say, you hit me back the other day, what? So we're even, lah. So whenever I got used to it, and I was so afraid to do so many things, and asking for a breakup was a ticket to getting into an emotionally exhausting argument that could last for days and sleepless nights. If he asked for a breakup and I didn't disagree, I didn't stop him saying, oh no, please don't break up with me, I would be accused of being a liar. And he got used to calling me degrading names whenever I didn't agree with him. So I got so used to the words fat, ugly, dirty, smelly. He would just throw it on me and I'll be like, okay, I'm sorry. You know, and he would say stuff like, if I didn't date you, you think anyone else would? You think anyone else would want you? If you don't lose weight, then don't be with me, you know? So I was like running all the time, showing him I was running. And he was very bipolar on so many levels. And okay, I cried almost every day until I woke up every single morning planning my day just so I don't get him angry. If I did something wrong, I had to beg for forgiveness. This snowballed into something so psychologically abusive that I turned into a completely different person and lost almost all my friends. When I graduated from JC, I graduated with only a handful of friends, mainly my classmates, because they weren't really close to me, you know, we're just classmates. And the rest just gave up on me and they asked, why is she so stupid to stay with him? And that's how it snowballed, from a simple mistake on my part not to respect myself and know my self-worth. He kept saying, after that, he kept saying to me, you're the only one who ever tolerated how I treat you. So when the time comes that I become better, only you will deserve me at my best. So when he said that, all I kept thinking of was like, it's okay, I'll constantly forgive him because one day he'll be at his best and it will all pay off, you know, all my tolerance will pay off. But constant forgiveness leads you to waiting for practically nothing. That's what I learned. So 2 years into the relationship, my colleague actually lodged a report for me. But my family and I decided to drop the charges because why? I wanted a better future for myself, and I wanted him to change for his own future and not be, his life doesn't stop. Let him make the change himself. And I wasn't going to stoop to his level trying to destroy someone else's future. And I'm better than that. I'm better than he is. So, but the question that irks me is that it's such a common question to ask, why does she stay with someone like that? Or in other cases, people ask, why is he still with her when she abuses him, or the other way around? Or like, I feel that shouldn't be the first question on anyone's mind when they hear about an abuse case. Shouldn't they be asking instead, why is he or she abusive? Why does he or she think that they have the right to do that? Why does he or she think that the victim is deserving of whatever they, the way they treat them? So it's the same concept when it comes to rape. Instead of people saying don't get raped, you should be teaching people not to rape and say don't rape. The same concept. The antagonist in the situation shouldn't be made to think that he or she has the right to continue doing what they're doing, and then people have to just run away from them or stop it. They're the ones who's supposed to stop. And for me, I knew that I had to stop being afraid of all the threats and blackmails he dared to impose on me. I took the risk finally, I left, and suffered consequences you cannot imagine. Threats given by him were carried out, like he really carried out whatever he, told me he would do, my worst fears. And he always said to me, if you hurt me once, I'll give you back tenfold. And he meant it. So I was distraught and my parents were disappointed because he got them involved as well. I couldn't leave my house without being afraid that he might pop up somewhere unexpected and give chase. And this happened a few times. So I spent my life running and running for many, many months. And I hurt my parents so badly. The people who truly loved me because of someone who had no clue, no idea what love was. Losing friends was already really hard. I was alone, but losing my parents, even for just 1 week, was unimaginable. And let me be honest, I was at my lowest and my weakest. I took pills a lot, and I tried pills with alcohol as well, and cough syrup, which I realized after talking to some people was something actually a lot of people were already doing to forget their problems. And I had complications with my body, but none enough to end everything. So what I did when my suicide attempts failed was to write a list of things that I would miss and the list of people who might miss me, topping the list my parents, of course. And since I had nobody, I tried to get back up myself and start talking to my friends that I lost. And I did it. I got these friends back to support me. And it wasn't easy to get friends who genuinely wanted to help because some people are just there to trust you. Trust me, because I've met too many of them. And all they want to do is just get into your life, know your story, and then talk about it to their friends. And I've met a lot of people like that. It's the biggest mistake ever, but life is such. And I will not let my experience sink into me and affect what I have ahead of me, but I will definitely put it into good positive use. Since my downfall and my struggle to get back up, I have joined Aware as a change maker, mainly because I want to raise awareness of dating violence and abuse as a whole. I plan to attend more workshops and hopefully eventually come up with my own, because it really irks me that people are in such situations thinking they have insufficient support and that they're too weak to step out of it, like how I was. And some people are more vulnerable than others. They can't get up on their own. So to just sum up whatever I said, I lived a little over 3 years of my life believing that this was the only way to be strong, to hold on and not to give up, to accept that there was no other way to save my life. And since I broke free from this prison, I have had girls coming to me telling me their issues. Like I did a speech at International Women's Day held by Aware, and after that a few girls talked to me, and then they told me their issues and they have no idea how to step out of it. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot more girls and guys going through this. And we think it's love, but love is not about possession or getting your way. Efforts do not mean that you have to chase your partner for hours just to show it, or leave them 60 missed calls to prove you're apologetic. And you all need to realize this. Abuse is not just about blood, bruises, and cuts only. Dating abuse is about how your life is affected by a relationship. Mine was extremely unhealthy, but there are a lot of unhealthy relationships out there, no matter how mild you think it is. So step out of it. I allowed mine to snowball into the unthinkable, and it was very hard for me to recover. I had nightmares every single week due to my anxiety, and when I tried moving on, I had the biggest fears that chased people I just met away. Find people to speak to, professionals or people with experience who will provide that strength for you. You are not alone, and find help because some of us are, as I said before, more vulnerable than others. Fear is temporary, but the loss of self-respect is extremely detrimental, and I learned that the hard way. There will be people who understand you, but of course you need to know who. No matter what, life goes on, so love yourself before anyone else, because when all else fails, all you are gonna have to be there is you. All you have there is you. Sorry. So if you know of anyone going through any form of abusive relationship, please know that whatever you see happening is only a tenth of what the victim goes through. And so, yeah, to end my speech, I've been providing support for a few girls who have come to talk to me since I reached out with my story, and we're actually working on an organization together, a small one, so we hope to expand in the years to come. And inspired by the event where I was being abused in school in front of people and not a single person came to stop it or to intervene, I'm also currently working on a dating abuse awareness campaign to hold my university, hopefully by early next year. Thank you.